Hello, my name's Nathan Leahy and this is Next Week in Gaming. So our first release is coming on Tuesday the 12th of January. It's by Climax Studios. This is a bit of a AAA/indie title by Ubisoft, and this is the next installment of the Assassin's Creed Chronicles. This one's set in India. Now, we did do a review of Assassin's Creed Chronicles China a few months back. I can't even remember when it released, and it was okay. It wasn't anything special. It was just a typically average platform puzzler, and this basically is much of the same stuff, except instead of being set in China, it's set in India. Different character, different storylines, but it's still going to retain much of that quite watercolor graphics design stuff. So if you did enjoy the original game, then you're certain to enjoy the next one. I would hasten a guess that it's probably going to include similar style enemies, similar style skills, everything that's probably just going to be the same. Although I am hoping that they're at least going to throw a few new fresh ideas in there just to spice it up a bit, because the way the press reviewed it was average but not quite good. So I think that there is definitely some work that needs to be done to the title, but hopefully they've listened to some of the feedback and improved it at least somewhat over the last year. Our next title is coming out sometime in January 2016, not necessarily next week, but we don't have a fixed release date right now. But it is by Choice Provision and it's called Tharsis. Now, I've been keeping my eye on games like Adrift, which just recently got a official launch date for March. And with the pre-release of the Oculus Rift, I've just been looking at space simulators and all that random stuff. And now this game is kind of a space survival-ish simulator, except a lot of it is dealt with dice. Now, the main story is that there is some weird signal contact communication thing coming from Mars. You go over there with 4 astronauts to complete a mission and see what's going on, and they get caught up in a micrometeoroid shower and end up with their ship half destroyed, and you know, they're running out of food, running out of oxygen, and the whole purpose is to survive. Now, it's got quite a big This War of Mine vibe to it, except a lot of the it's turn-based game, so a lot of the turns are dealt with dice, and there seems to be quite a heavy focus on cannibalism in order to survive, because obviously there's a lack of food, and the game is, you know, actively working against you to make it quite difficult. But your purpose is to make some decisions, not necessarily the right ones, and just survive at all costs with your 4 little members of crew. But there is quite a focus on some slightly diabolical ends, or that those people might have been sent there for some evil reasoning or other. But it looks quite nice. The art style is quite particular, very much like XCOM, in that sort of pastely, round blocky nature. But it looks like quite an interesting game. It looks relatively unique as well. So I think if you quite like This War of Mine for its gameplay value, not necessarily the story of being a civilian in a war as opposed to an actual soldier, this is more of the survival element, and everything's working against you, and you know, there is no technically right decisions. Just the decision to survive is the right one. So all in all, I have to say it looked interesting enough for me to pick it out. Our next release is coming out on Friday the 15th of January. This is by Night School Studios and this is called Oxen Freak. Now, this has a totally bizarre title. I haven't actually spent some time researching why it's been chosen, but this game kind of reminded me of Life is Strange. Now, it's set in a... you're playing a young girl called Alex, and you'll be heading off to a party on a military island with your brother called Josh or something like that. And this is a title very similar to Life is Strange in the way that it deals with the dialogue. Obviously there's no crazy backwards moving in time, but there is a weird gate that seems to open and loads of ghastly horrors seem to come out of it onto this military island, or you get sucked in. Not quite sure how it's going to turn at this point, but there's a nice focus on just that story and building characters, and it's not just uncovering a story about all of these crazy horrors that are going on, but it's also, you know, peeling away the layers at the main person. So it's going to have a bit of an emotional evolution across the game, along with this nice conversation system. It's got a quite decent looking conversation system. It has a bit of a Kentucky Route Zero feel to it, I think. When I was watching the trailer, I was thinking, yeah, I'm getting that kind of vibe. But of course it is a horror game at the same time, so do bear in mind that you may get that sort of teen horror style scaring the crap out of your pants. So all in all, anything that looks like Kentucky Route Zero is definitely worth a look. Also dropping on the 15th of January by Capcom is the latest addition to the Dragon's Dogma franchise, Dark Arisen. Now, I've never actually played a Dragon's Dogma game, but I've seen quite a few veterans play it, and it looks pretty damn awesome. I quite like the look of it, very similar to DMC Devil May Cry, and it's got a bit of a Dark Souls-y vibe to it. I could be completely wrong because I've never played it, but this one's quite interesting, and I've seen a couple of Asian studios do this. It comes with the Dark Arisen content, but then it also comes with the previous titles content, all the previous titles DLC, season passes and exclusive content, all that stuff. Now, this is new to me. I saw it done with Bladestorm Nightwear when I did a review of that a while back, and it just must be that sort of thing that they do across the pond. So it's cool, but it's odd at the same time. So this is an RPG, hack and slash style RPG. You've got companions, which are also called pawns, and you can take over them and use their abilities to solve objectives. But there's quite a decent amount of focus on customization as well, not least on your own personal hero and their armor and weapons and skills and abilities and all that, but also with the pawns you can sort of guide them in the direction of your preference. So this is probably going to be the first Dragon's Dogma game I actually play. Might not necessarily review it, but I feel like this is definitely something I should jump into because I guess they're going to make some more, and it feels like I'm missing out. And finally, onto our review for next week, which will be on Thursday the 14th of January. This is Contract. Now, as soon as you might remember I mentioned it last week for a release that was coming out, and as soon as I finished that, I got straight onto the Steam forums and tried to search for this developer, and it was actually a lot easier than I expected because he just dropped his email in the comment section on the Steam discussion group, and so I asked him for a key and he was delighted to. So this game is made in Game Maker by just one guy by the looks of things, and it's got that sort of if Hitman were in 8-bit vibe to it, and it's also got that Tom Francis vibe, which is just those games, anything that looks like not a Hero or Gunpoint or Ronin, straight on my list. So we will be reviewing that. I've already started playing in it. It's looking pretty good. The reviews so far from users have been pretty positive as well. It is only 2 hours long, but I feel like the price reflects that, and you know, such a small developer. Length doesn't mean everything. Stanley Parable is technically about 2 minutes long, and you know, that's a wonderful game and costs 3 times as much, but it's a good game and well worth the price. So I'm certainly hoping I'll see the same from Contract. That's it from us at NextPowerUp. Join us next week on Thursday for our weekly review of Contract, and of course our next Week in Gaming episode on Saturday. As usual, leave your comments in the section below, and let us know what you've been playing. I'm still chundering along with World of Warcraft, although I'm getting a bit of that fatigue because I'm trying to go after the achievement that unlocks flying in Draenor, and it's a slow old slog. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you next week on Thursday, and yeah, see you guys next time.